Hey everybody, Pandi here of Pandi's Hair Candy and More, as well as the Simply Pandi channel, coming to you all with a bit of breaking news. It appears that pioneering TV journalist Barbara Walters has passed on today, December 30th, 2022. We have definitely had our fair share of losses this year, and with this year almost practically over, this is a bit stunning. Barbara Walters, the pioneering TV broadcaster who blazed a trail for women in a male-dominated medium, died Friday, which is today. She was 93 years old. Her death was confirmed by her representative, Cindy Berger, who said Walters died peacefully in her home, surrounded by loved ones. She lived with no regrets, Berger said. She was a trailblazer, not only for female journalists, but for all women. ABC, the network where she last worked, aired a special report Friday morning announcing Walters' death and reflecting on her career. Bob Iger, the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, parent of ABC, said in a statement, Walters died Friday evening at her New York City residence. He called her a pioneer, not just for women in journalism, but for journalism itself. Walters was known in recent years as the co-creator and matriarch of the hit ABC daytime TV show The View. But older viewers remember her as the first female anchor of a network news program and the preeminent interviewer on television. She earned that reputation with a penchant for meticulous preparation, whether she was interviewing despots or divas, models or murderers. The drive proved essential to her success when she broke into the business in 1961 as a writer on NBC's Today. The idea of a woman sitting down and interviewing a sitting president on primetime network television, which she did just over a decade later, seemed more fantasy than reality in an industry dominated by men like Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite. She was playing in a field that was such an old boys network, literally and figuratively, and she did not take no for an answer. Robert Thompson, director of the Blair Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse University, told NBC before Walters' death. Barbara Walters proved to be evolutionary every step between Edward R. Murrow and Oprah Winfrey. In some ways, Walters had been preparing for those trademark interviews all her life. Born in Boston on September 25, 1929, Barbara Jill Walters got to see the rich and famous up close as the daughter of nightlife Lou Walters, who owned clubs up and down the East Coast. Inheriting her father's drive, Walters graduated from Sarah Lawrence College with a bachelor's degree in English and broke into journalism as an assistant at NBC affiliate WRCA-TV. In 1955, she married businessman Robert Henry Katz, but her first love remained her fledgling career. The couple divorced 3 years later. Hired as a writer and a researcher on Today, Walters rose to become the only female producer on the show and started filling in on air occasionally as the Today Girl, a reporting role reserved for fashion shows, lifestyle trends, and the weather that was previously held, among others, by Florence Henderson of the Brady Bunch. Hardly the kind of reporting to which Walters clearly aspired. Off-air, Walters married the theater producer Lee Goober in 1963, with whom she adopted a daughter, Jacqueline, named after Walters' older sister, who was developmentally disabled. That marriage lasted 13 years. Her big breakthrough came with an assignment to travel with Jacqueline Kennedy on the First Lady's trip to India in 1962. That led to more newsy pieces and a bump in status to co-hosting responsibilities opposite Hugh Downs. Though she didn't get the official title until 1974, by that time Downs had left the network and was replaced by Frank McGee. McGee, who died shortly after being partnered with Walters, demanded that he ask 3 questions to every one of Walters' in-studio interviews. He was a real newsman, after all. So Walters started fielding interviews outside the studio, quickly building a reputation as an incisive and probing questioner. People were watching, including executives at rival networks. Walters was lured to ABC to become the first female co-anchor of a primetime news broadcast with an unprecedented $1 million annual salary. It didn't take long, however, for viewers to sense the tension between Walters and co-anchor Harry Reasoner, who couldn't be bothered to hide his disdain for his former Today girl being billed as his equal. Her newfound celebrity also drew the ultimate backhanded honor, having her struggles pronouncing hard R's lampooned by Gilda Radner on Saturday Night Live. Walters later admitted she didn't find the Baba Wawa skits funny. With ratings of her ABC News program a disappointment, Walters' career was saved by the primetime interview special she started for ABC. Her first interview featured President-elect Jimmy Carter, and within a year she had managed a joint interview with Prime Minister Menachem Begin of Israel and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat a year before the historic peace treaty. In 1979, she reunited with Downs on the ABC News magazine show 2020, beginning a successful 25-year run. But it was her interviews that remained Walters' passion, compiling her mix of tough and amusing questions on her trademark 3x5 index cards and fussing with the order even after the camera started rolling. In the 2014 television special that commemorated her retirement from TV journalism, Walters showed off an autographed photo from Cuban despot Fidel Castro that hung on her wall. "For the longest and most difficult interview I've ever done in my life," she said. Though Walters received much flack for asking Katharine Hepburn, "What kind of tree are you?" in fairness, a follow-up to something the legendary actor had said, she could deliver the toughest of questions, like looking Russian President Vladimir Putin in the eye and asking him if he had ever ordered a death on arrival. Her exclusive interview with Monica Lewinsky in 1999 earned the highest ratings in the history for a primetime interview. In 1997, Walters debuted a new show that was closer to her Today roots, a mid-morning talk show with an all-woman panel called The View. While she was co-executive producer and had a seat at the table, she taped Meredith Vieira as the first moderator. Over the years, the hit show would include Whoopi Goldberg, Star Jones, Lisa Ling, Joy Behar, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, Rosie O'Donnell, and Meghan McCain among the panelists. While Walters largely managed to avoid controversy over her long career, she caused a stir with the revelation that she had an affair with Senator Edward Brooke, representative of Massachusetts, during the 1970s. After nearly 60 years in journalism, Walters announced she was retiring in 2014. Again, rest in peace, legendary journalist Barbara Walters. December 30th, 2022. Thank you all for tuning in to this quick edition of breaking news here on the Simply Pandi Show.